What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Madonna. Once again, big shout out to Mark for sharing the main catalog of Madonna, and shout out to a handful of folks who sent some other Madonna tunes, including Izzy World, who has sent a couple, including an alternative mix of Vogue, a tune I just went through, one of the tracks from the Immaculate Collection, which was not included on any previous albums, and people have mentioned that tune in particular, but also just the handful of tracks that I've been going through, like the last few reactions, are like bridging her way conceptually and musically toward her next album, which I'm looking forward to, given what people have said. But yeah, ultimately this is, I assume, a dance remix. I did notice that it's like 7 minutes long, so my expectation already would have been that, you know, given that it's a remix, a strike a pose dub, and dub, you know, in the world of techno and like dance records, it tends to mean an extended mix, probably with vocals pulled out, or at least some of the vocals pulled out. So yeah, even without knowing it was 7 minutes long, my expectation is that it would be a dance version. Strike a pose dub, people mention that the concept of Vogue and the cultural scene in which that became an expression, you know, of significance, it was about posing and dancing in certain ways and like presentation, like, you know, the visuals of you know, cultural expression and, you know, kinetic expression. So with that in mind, the strike a pose dub feels like a very appropriate choice. I don't remember in the moment if this is a Shep Pettibone remix. My assumption would be, especially that it's coming from Izzy, is that it would be. In the moment I'm forgetting, I apologize. I will try to go back and look at the email thread, and if I notice that to be the case, I'll put it in the video description. If I still haven't done that, do let me know, Izzy, if I've gotten that wrong. But either way, let's listen. This is Madonna, this is Vogue, and it's the strike a pose dub of the version, or of the tune.
Vogue. Pose.
I mean, my other guess would, I guess, be Junior Vasquez, but
Vogue.
Izzy he's down with Mr. Pettibone, so I'm gonna assume that without further information.
Pose.
Like a light tribal house feel.
Strike the pose.
Like I said, a bit of a tribal house feel, but very kind of light and smooth.
Attitude.
I love the fast percussive rhythm. people hitting glass and aluminum. Or aluminium if you're from the UK.
Attitude. Attitude.
I like the way that dropped there.
Beauty's way of finding attitude. Attitude. Beauty's way of finding attitude. Vogue. Attitude.
Yeah. It's funny, this section feels like you can't sustain this for too long or otherwise it gets like... I was surprised it didn't break back into the full... Like with current vocals, like they're a tricky thing. They can work well, but they can also be overbearing if they're like... Okay, so we faded. It took one measure longer than I thought, but I like the way that played out. Deep electric bass. Clever use of these individual words drawn from the lyrics. Perhaps most immediately obvious when that electric bass line came in and she started playing bass. Yeah, it's cool. It has this sort of laid-back tribal house feel. At least that's how it hit my brain. I do like a couple of the transitional moments, like the composition of the track. Again, that one section, it's funny because, I listen to techno where it's like sections are dissonant and like they are in some ways grating or unpleasant, but the way that they occur in the larger track makes that, you know, enjoyable. So that middle section where that voice was like a quick like comeback and just again and again, you know, again, like that type of vocal, it can hit right or it can hit less right depending on the way like it plays out. And even though again it stayed in the track a little bit longer than I thought, in the end I enjoyed the way that sequence played out too, which, you know, I like throwing in some, you know, notable change ups from the rest of the track, and that section had a notably different feel. So again, in the moment, I don't know, although again I suppose I could let Luca rest on the chair and I could check right now. Yeah, because I'm curious who does. I suppose I could check both the email thread. Okay, so here's the email from Izzy, one of the 12-inch versions of Vogue. Okay, this dub mix by Pettibone is fairly different to the single mix, so there you go. It is indeed a Pettibone track, and yeah, ultimately, you know, some of the aspects of his 12-inch mixes, that, you know, exploration, including some sections where it's notably, you know, shifted, and indeed, that did have a pretty different sound from the original, because it kept, instead of going into the fuller version of the, you know, normal or single version of the tune, it would go into those like tribal house or, you know, sort of more dance floor, you know, not like techno in the sense, you know, like acid techno, but in a more like techno, again, like 12-inch sense. So yeah, I enjoyed the composition. Ultimately, a good extrapolation from the original. So shout out to Pettibone, shout out to Izzy World, shout out to all the people who've been patient, waiting for me to return to regular reactions, including the Madonna folks. And yeah, I've been looking forward to getting back to it. I don't know if you can tell, I am a little bit under the weather, and I get annoyed when I can hear my voice like not sounding normal. But nevertheless, I did want to get back to it today, so we forge ahead. Let me know what you think of this tune. I will see you next time. Peace.